Hello, I am Archivist Asheron, and welcome to my study. And today, we are back once more to Asheron's Call, which it has been a while since I last played, but I've been playing kind of in the background without streaming it for quite some time. And I've made progress in some areas and not so much progress in some other areas. So, essentially the plan for today is that I've been doing a lot of farming off camera, essentially, and I've been trying to get a full set of ninja armor, which normally is easy. Normally people just already have someone like macroing in Egg Orchard, and they just set their thing to pick up any of the shurikens they find, and that's it. That's just like end of story. And you get the ninja gear within like 1 or 2 nights. But I am not macroing on this server at all. So it kind of makes things like ninja armor become an incredibly time intensive endeavor. I've already been attempting for a few days to get it, and I've gotten 3 out of 5 of the pieces that I need from Egg Orchard. And we're just gonna go and kill more things. And I'm hoping to maybe get, better luck and be able to get the rest of all of our ninja armor pieces today, which I just need 2 more, and we should be fine. But 2 more is, what, 32 shurikens? Because I think it's 16 per armor piece. And, of course, that all comes down to the RNG of whether or not the enemies actually summon the ninjas, which sometimes they don't. Like, I think a couple days ago, it took, and I actually was able to keep track exactly of how many it took because I was doing the kill task daily, which I would be doing now, but it still hasn't reset from yesterday, so we'll have to wait on that for a bit. But I had killed, I think it was 200, no, it was 187, I believe. I killed 187 Olthoi Rippers and only got like, and that's how many it took before the first ninja spawn of the day happened. So it is sometimes an insanely rare phenomenon to have the ninjas show up. But luckily, we have time, and we shall just kill them all, and hopefully they will drop the ninjas. Although the ninjas are actually kind of dangerous, because they actually vuln you, and they not only cold vuln you, so their weapons do more damage, but they slash vuln you, which makes it so the Olthoi are actually a lot more dangerous as well. So you kind of need to keep an eye out for that. It's like both a good thing when they spawn and also a stressful thing, because you actually need to start paying attention to what you're doing and whether or not you're getting killed. I also try to loot roughly all the enemies I kill in here just in case they drop the Ripper spines, because, it's a nice amount of spare XP on top of, everything else that you get from here, like the ninja armor. And when I was doing it before, I would just, sometimes, it was kind of a 50-50 of if I would turn on the macro to just have it set to looting, so it'll just loot everything around me and I don't need to deal with it. Because, I'm really only looking for the Ripper spines, so going through and manually looting it would be kind of more of a hassle than it's worth if you're just looking for specific things. But let's just hope they actually give us the ninjas. So far, no ninjas, which is not really unexpected. We've only killed 2 groups. But luckily, since this is my own server, I don't need to worry at all about someone else being in here macroing and... Why are my armor spells wearing off? I think I have those offset a bit. Either that, or it's an issue with... I don't know. I feel like armor buffs do last longer with the augmentations that make things last longer. I think I've just cast them offset, which it's kind of a problem. I kind of need to... I might just redo all my buffs and see if that fixes it. So let's clear out an area that we can redo some buffs. Because, yeah, that's happened a couple times. I don't know how exactly it happened. If it is that the augmentations that make it so your buffs last longer don't apply to armor buffs, then that would kind of suck. But I think it's just that I've been buffing offset for a while. So let's head up this way first and clear out this room up here, which will give us a good little spot to rebuff. And of course, I'm still using my well-balanced Lugian Great Axe, which is, as far as I know, the only two-handed weapon in the game that hits 3 enemies. Ooh, ninjas. That's actually bad timing, seeing as how we don't have full buffs. And against these guys, we switch over to Blood Scorch, because fire's a bit better against them. Not by much, though. They still take a long time to kill. But that's fine. They'll go down eventually. We just need to keep, you know, healing, making sure that we're full up. Alright, Shuriken and other guy, Shuriken. Okay. So that's 2 out of the 30-something we need. And I don't know exactly what the number is of what we need, because I'm pretty sure I turned in like either 2 or 4 more than was required for the last piece. So, and I didn't really keep very good track of it. Oh, and let's just Gem of Stillness so we get rid of their vulns. Because no armor buffs and a slashing vuln would be absolutely deadly in this place. But yeah, getting a ninja spawn that early is actually pretty lucky. I mean, we only killed, what, like 30 Olthoi before we got that? As opposed to the 187 I had to kill another day to get that first spawn of ninjas. So I'm guessing we'll have some good luck today. We'll just quickly scan for anything useful on these things. I mainly pick up the stamina potions. I don't really have to, but I mainly pick those up simply for alleviating the pressure on my rations. I have a lot of rations still, but I don't want to have to go buy more. So if I just pick up any stamina potions these guys drop, I actually end up with a net positive of stamina potions usually. Alright, so we're gonna heal, and then put on the orb, and then set buffing, and we're gonna hit force buff. So hopefully this will redo all of our buffs, including the armor buffs, all at the same time. And hopefully that'll be good. Because, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Oh, it actually fizzled. Is our magic skill not sufficient? Oh, I guess it isn't. Yeah, actually, our magic skills on this character are about the same as my magic skills on my new war mage, who's only like level 120 or something. So that's kind of sad. Those are not very high. But I guess I got them just high enough to mostly consistently cast level 7s, and then I just left it at that. Because why invest more XP into something when I'm never going to be able to cast level 8s on this character? Because, I mean, even if I max all these out and max out Focus and Self, I really doubt it's going to be high enough to consistently cast level 8s. Because those things, I mean, I think you need, like, 455 skill to cast level 8s 100% of the time. And probably at least, like, 430 to cast them mostly consistently. So I kind of doubt I'll get that high up. I might hit about 400, maybe 410 if I really max out all the skills on this, but it still will be really iffy with level 8s. That is why, recently, can you stop fizzling? Recently, I have been trying to level up a War Mage on my second account. And I told you to stop fizzling, what are you doing? You don't have any debuffs or anything. They usually don't fizzle this much. I don't know what's going on with them. They don't even have, like, Vitae, no debuffs. They're just kind of sucking at it today. But that's fine. I have plenty of spell components, so, you know, it doesn't really cost anything to fizzle. But, okay, there we go. Now, what? Are all of our armor buffed? They are. Okay. Good. But yeah, I've been leveling a War Mage, because I realized not only that this character will never be able to cast level 8s, but also there are some characters like my Archer who I've been wanting to play, but I haven't been able to, because they have effectively out-leveled their own stats. You know, no matter how high level I get them, no matter how much XP I put into their stats, it still won't do anything for me because they'll still be weak. And the reason behind that is because they have no buffs. And I couldn't find them a set of armor, or at least quest armor, that gives you a full, like, comprehensive set of level 7 buffs. So, I decided I needed some other option here. If the character can't self-buff, I need some way for them to get buffs outside of that. Oh, more ninjas. Nice. It's actually really good timing. Fire weapon. And so essentially, I decided, oh, well, normally, if your character can't buff themselves, you just go to a buff bot. But there are no buff bots because it's my own private server. So I decided to just make my own buff bot. Because, you know, it just works better that way. I have experimented with trying to make NPC buff bots, which I have successfully done. But that's still... I don't know, I felt that it was a little bit cheap, even though I added in countermeasures to it, like it costing money. You need to, like, give a trade note to the NPC for them to give you buffs. It still felt a bit cheap to me. So, you know, I have them available if I really need it, but I kind of want to have my own personal character buff bot. And so that's why I made the War Mage. And now I'm leveling the War Mage in order to make it so that the Archer character is actually playable, because that's the one that I want to play more of. And the ninja armor also plays into this, in that I didn't remember, because I haven't used buff bots in forever now, but apparently buff bots cannot buff armor, because apparently they cannot select armor on other characters. But as the character yourself, you're able to select your own armor and buff it. So where the ninja armor comes in is it's the only kind of higher level set of armor that I could think of that fully buffs itself. You know, the ninja armor, it doesn't have much else in the way of buffs, but it definitely has a full comprehensive set of armor buffs. So it's pretty powerful in that way, if you can get every other buff in the game from another source. So this armor pretty much just fills in the gap that is left from the buff bot's inability to buff armor. But it should be able to cover everything. Can you stop backing up behind me? Thank you. The struggles of playing a two-hander character. That's another reason why I'm wanting to play my Archer, is because they can both out DPS the two-handed character, hopefully, if it's actually as powerful as I've been led to believe. Because in theory, against specific enemies and in the right circumstances, and if you're well geared, an archer can pretty much out DPS anything in the game, any other type of player, in a single target type situation. Whereas the main issue I've been having with my two-hander here is that they don't excel in single target killing. So most quests that have like a boss at the end of the quest, I just can't do all that effectively, which is most high level quests, because I don't do good single target damage, you know? The reason why I use this thing, the well-balanced Lugian Great Axe, is because it maximizes my DPS by making it so I can hit 3 enemies. Because, you know, that's is pretty much how two-handers work, is it takes moderate DPS and spreads it among multiple, or multiplies it along multiple enemies, so that the moderate DPS going to 3 enemies becomes super high DPS overall. But hopefully the archer will be a lot more powerful in single target, and it'll be able to take out actual bosses and everything. But my buff bot character still has a long ways to go, and I need to get the ninja armor fully, you know, put together before that can happen. Because my buff bot, they can barely cast level 7s. They're at about the same level as this character when it comes to, you know, buffing skills. So they still need to get way higher on these, at least, as I said, like 430 probably skill on creature, item, and life before they can start buffing effectively with level 8s. So that's currently my goal, but they're only like level 120 something, maybe 130 now? Might be 130 now. Because I just did at least the main dailies for them earlier today. Because, you know, it's never too early to get your dailies done. Unless you've done the dailies too recently that the timer is still going, then it's a little too early. But you know what I mean. Can this guy come over here? I need to cleave him. Thank you. Yeah, it's probably the most annoying part of playing two-handers, just you're constantly micromanaging the enemies and where they're standing and what they're doing, and the enemy's AI is not made to stand in a neat line right in front of you. Like, especially if you've ever tried to play as a two-hander character fighting against Tuskers, you'll know how irritating it is. Because the Tuskers, somehow, some way, first of all, they can squeeze behind you, even when there was not nearly enough space for them to actually get past you. They'll just teleport there. And sometimes I even need to figure out if they're actually there, which sometimes they are, but other times they're not. Sometimes they just look like they've squeezed behind you, even though they didn't. And they'll just consistently be standing back there hitting you, even though they're actually in front of you hitting you, but you can't see that. It's a weird graphical bug. But sometimes they do actually get behind you, like this guy. Is he actually behind me because he, like, somehow squeezed around the right side? Or is he actually in front of me, like, right here, but the game just isn't... Yeah, no, he wasn't actually behind me. He was in front of me. Same with this guy. Is he behind me? I don't know. And that makes two-hander very kind of irritating. Because, like, how do I know if I'm actually hitting something if you can't physically see that the enemy is indeed in front of you? I don't know. Like you, I think you're actually behind me. Yeah, you were. Very annoying. But as an archer, I won't have to deal with that nearly as much. And that'll be good. But the archer requires a lot of work. They're kind of one of those characters that I haven't shown much love to, and they've kind of fallen behind. Like, what are you doing? How did you get back there? You're not back there, because see, you're getting hit. So you're in front of me, you just look like you're behind me. And Tuskers do that a lot. I hate it. Because the Tuskers, they have like a sliding movement. I don't know how it works exactly, but they slide. And especially, like on Dekaroo Tide, it was so annoying because the Tuskers are already one of the most deadly things you can fight on Dekaroo Tide. And they killed me multiple times in hardcore. But it was so annoying because everything on Dekaroo Tide, at least last I checked, They had some updates recently. I don't know what they changed. But last I checked, every enemy in the game had the ability to sneak attack. So if an enemy got behind you, I'm just going to set this to looting and set that going. Go. It's not looting. Loot. Okay, I don't know why the macro is not working, but okay. We'll just do it manually because, I mean, usually I don't loot this group manually because it's so huge, but, you know, obviously the macro's feeling lazy today, so we're just going to give it a break. Who needs it anyway? We're a strong, independent player who don't need no macro. How'd you get back here? And then just do next corpse. See if there's any we haven't looted here, which of course there are. And that's the end of them. Okay. What was I saying? I don't remember. Oh, Dekrutide. Right, with the Tuskers. Yeah, so all units, all enemies could backstab you. So if an enemy was behind you, you don't want them to be behind you, because they will do a lot of damage. And the issue is that the Tuskers already, if they crit, they could sometimes almost one-shot you. Like, those things were freaking deadly. So the last thing you wanted was a Tusker behind you. That is just the most unholy of mixtures. And it would definitely kill you. Even if you had some kind of bludgeoning protection, which I think I had like bludgeoning protection 4 or something, which is fairly decent for my level at that time on Dekrutide. And even with bludge protection 4, it's still, I still got literally one shot via Tusker. Like, I was at max health, and then the Tusker bugged around behind me, and before I could really reposition myself and get back so it's in front of me, it hits me once, it must have crit, and crit plus sneak attack plus it's a frickin' Tusker. It just one-shot me from full health to 0 instantly through a bludgeoning protection spell. To be fair, oh, ninjas. I should not have been in that high level of a Tusker dungeon, like, at all. I had no business of being there. But I was, you know, on Dekrutide at that time, all of the quests had like a 1-month timer. So you can't just go in and do like, oh, I'll just do my Tusker tusks every day and eventually get up to max level real fast. It's like, no, you can't do that. You need to, it's only once a month, so I was kind of pushing myself to get to the higher level Tusker tusks. And it didn't go well. I totally overextended at that point. Which is partially my fault, partially I blame the sneak attack and the Tusker's inherent movement. Oh yeah, and the Dekrutide hard mode, I've tried to play a little bit of it. I wasn't too good at it. Like, I was pretty good at the hardcore one, but I've been having a hard time getting a foothold on the new hard mode. My brother's been doing really well at it though, apparently. He's been making some progress, so I'm quite happy for him. But yeah, it looks like they made a lot of cool improvements, or not even just improvements, but like changes, because you can't really say if something is a improvement or not per se. Your mage 28, yeah, I think my main issue that I was having was that I made my character and then died immediately and lost my only healing kit. And so I was trying to play as a melee character without healing kits, and it didn't go very well. I could have done it if I just stuck at it and, you know, getting past those first like 5 levels so you can start to really get some kind of, you know, good XP coming in from killing higher level enemies. I think at a certain point it'll probably go a lot smoother, but those first few levels seem to just be kinda really hard to get through. So I haven't put in the effort to get to that point yet. Oh hey, Al is here. Hi, Al. How's it going? Man, we've gotten a lot of ninjas so far. Already 3 groups. Getting some good luck already. Man, I really like this weapon, because it crits so very often. I mean, I have had times where I'm fighting 3 enemies, and it's like cleaving all 3 of them, and I'll get 331 hits on all 6 of the attacks that hit. It's so nice. Even though 331 damage is not like an immense amount, but that would be 662 damage if each one crit to each enemy, across 3 enemies, which is still a significant amount of damage. Did that guy do the thing again? No, he's up here. Yeah, sometimes the Olthoi that spawns right here, if you run around that corner too fast, they'll try to go after you and get stuck behind this corner. Somehow. I don't know how they do it. But then it just puts 2 Olthoi up here, and then I can't perfectly cleave them. Ooh, red Aetheria. I'm still trying to find, like, a single high-level red Aetheria. I don't know how people do it, or where they find them. Is it like, do you need to be opening legendary chests to get, like, level 5 red Aetheria, or are they just insanely rare? Because I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen one, except on another character. And it might just be that they macro for it for, like, eons against certain enemies, and eventually one drops. But just the sheer number of Aetheria that I've revealed, and the very few that actually have the ones that I want, it just feels like I would never get a max level red Aetheria that actually has the buffs that I want on it. Because oh, max level cloak, actually. Yeah, missile defense. I don't think that's super useful, but that is actually kind of rare, seeing a level 5 cloak. I don't see those all that often. Though missile defense, I'm not really sure if that's that good. I mean, Shroud of Darkness missile might actually be good, simply because missile weapons have the unique accuracy bar, not a power bar. So having some debuff that would reduce an enemy's missile defense might actually be really powerful, because then you can shoot faster. But I don't know. I think the missile defense weave just kind of ruined it for me, because it's like, I don't know how often I'd actually use that. Like, what high-level enemies... I guess Gear Knights have crossbows quite often, but generally the threat with Gear Knights is them putting a level 8 lightning vuln and then hitting you with level 8 lightning bolts, and then you just die in 2 hits because their lightning bolts do like 150 to 200 damage each one if you're vulned. So that's usually what I worry about, and thus I'd stack magic defense or lightning defense type buffs, and not any kind of missile defense against that. But who knows? Once I have my buff bot situation going, maybe I'll have enough spare points on my characters to actually get missile defense. I don't know. Oh, and he just bled out. Okay, that's useful. Oh, that's just a... I don't know why I was thinking of just auto picking up the cloak. Glyph of Nether. Alright then. I don't see that one all that often, honestly. I might actually want to pick that up, because I do have a Void Mage. And that's probably useful for making level 8 Void spells, I would assume. It just kind of stood out to me, because it looks like the Nether Bolt thing is kind of breaking out of the confines of the glyph. So it looked a little misshapen. But that's fine. I'll add that to my collection on my mule character. I have probably not a very large collection comparatively, but I have quite the collection of level 8 components sitting somewhere on a mule. Just in case, at some point, I will need to get level 8 buffs. Which, you know, all things considered, I'll probably, for certain things, just go to the stipend guy, and I think it's 4 of them for just any full school of magic's worth of level 8 spells. But for especially for something like void magic that only has like a handful of spells, it would be much more efficient to just make them manually. But like creature enchantment, I'm probably gonna just use the stipends for, because sounds like that would take a very long time. Well, the only other time I've ever used the stipends for level 8 spells was when I was trying to figure out if at all there was a stamina to mana level 8, which there isn't, evidently. Because I think that was on Reef Coal back in the day, back when I used to play on there. And I was, like, pulling my hair out, trying to figure out where the level 8 stamina to mana is. Because I almost had everything up to level 8s. You know, I'd done all the research, figured out exactly what all the spell recipes were, and I got a full, like, all my war magic, all my creature and item magic was all level 8s, and I was happy. But there was one thing that never got up to level 8, and that was stamina to mana. So I was like, okay, I already have most of the life spells, and all the important life spells at least. So I'm just gonna, but I'm still just gonna go to the Agent of the Arcanum and be like, hey, give me all level 8 life spells, because I need that stamina to mana. And no wiki had the recipe for it. And I tried manually every recipe I could think of and never found it. And then even the Agent of the Arcanum didn't give me a level 8 stamina to mana. It just does not exist, I don't think. Which is very upsetting. I mean, level 7 is already good enough. I think it, like, takes 50% of your stamina and gives, like, 300% of that back or something. But still, I wanted it, even if it wasn't significantly better, or even if I don't need anything better. Just to have everything use the same components would have been nice, you know? Just never having to cast a level 7 spell again. But sadly, it was not meant to be. And I was very disappointed. And if I knew how to add spells into the game, which I absolutely do not, that sounds like it's very confusing. I mean, if I did know how to do that, I would actually add the heal over time that Decarutide has and add that into my game. But I don't know. It seems like that's a bit of file manipulation that I am just not qualified to do just yet. But if I could, I would add heal over time from Decarutide and the stamina to mana 8 that I so very much wish existed. But let's see. I am now wondering what the formula is with the level 7 stamina to mana. 175% of it. Okay, so it's not that intense. Which is weird, because 175% gives it, like, opens up space for you to have a level 8 version of it that it gives 200% of it back, right? And that seems like a pretty definitive number. So why would they just never add that in? Unless it is added in and it's just nobody has ever found the formula for it. And they forgot to add it to the Agent of the Arcanum. I don't know. Because, yeah, as I said, I looked on all the wikis. None of them had it. And it's very saddening. Also, we haven't found any more ninjas since the last group. Which was a little while ago. It is unfortunate. But I might as well clear up some space in here. We'll just look at these two. Nothing I really need. Let's do that. get more of the desiccants, get rid of all the low-level ones, and salvage all of these. I've been focusing a lot on the black opals because I did have a void mage that I was leveling up for a while there, and for their weapons, they don't need any kind of rending. They just need critical strike. So I've been focusing on picking up a lot of the black opal. The black opal is the right one, right? Yeah. Use the target with critical strike. So that's why I've been focusing specifically on that one mostly, because I have piles and piles of other salvage bags, but not so much black opal because I hadn't focused on it until lately. But yeah, this character's been going well. I haven't really gotten as much progress on them as I could have because I've been focusing on other characters and other projects, but they did semi-recently, since I last, streamed them. I got... What did I get? I got the first level of Zuardo, and... What else was it? I think I finished getting the duration up to 5 times augments, which I think that was only at 3 times last time I streamed. And what else did I do? I don't even see where it is. But I did get... Ah, here it is. Yeah, the Aetheria Surge chance. Because personally, if I could just have my Aetheria Surge going just constantly, I'd be a happy person. Larva, can you get out of my way? I need to be fighting the big Olthoi. Okay, will the macro work now? Why wasn't this working before? Because it's on loot. There it goes. See, why are you picking that up? Oh, you're mana stoning it. Okay. See, now the macro is working with the looting. I don't know why it wasn't working before. I like hit the run button and it just was catatonic. Maybe it was trying to do the armor buffs, but I think I already figured out the armor buffs by that point. I don't know. It was weird. I'm not sure why it was doing what it was doing. But now it's working, and now I don't need to really worry about it. It doesn't pick up the potions, which is kind of sad. So I can still... And it doesn't pick up the just raw pyreals. So overall, me looting manually is still the more efficient method. But when it comes to giant groups like this, where I just want to get the spines and move on, it works a lot more efficiently because I don't have to think about it. But also, if any ninjas spawned in a group, I don't want to use the macro because it isn't set to pick up the shurikens right now. So, not really good if I do get the lucky spawn and then it just ignores the shurikens. Let's just loot these guys just in case. Because, yeah, they can have the larva steak. Which, is only like an amount of XP. I don't remember exactly how much it is. But it's not that much. But it's probably worth it to just pick it up. Because it does stack, so might as well. I am gonna miss just having the whole chat filled up with light red numbers of me just cleaving through dozens of enemies. But I am hoping eventually the archer will take over the spot of main character on the server. Because right now my two-hander is the main. Because, they're the highest level. But eventually the archer shall maybe surpass them. We'll just have to see. And I'll have to actually get some good bows and stuff that I can actually rend. I did find some good missile weapons recently, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to actually rend them, because I think one of them was incomparable, and that is not a good sign for being able to actually rend it. I don't know why I healed there. I definitely did not need to. Is there 4 here? No, there's only 3. Interesting. Oh, but there's one unlooted, so... Oh, it's behind me somehow. That's normal. Okay. You know, I feel like every game should have a select next unopened corpse button. Like, there's just a lot of games that could benefit from that don't. Although I suppose games like World of Warcraft have that built in, because it just automatically has the shiny stuff on corpses that have loot, right? Man, it's been so long since I played WoW now. How am I forgetting? Like, I've played WoW most of my life at this point, and just because I've been away from it for a significant amount of time, I'm forgetting if all corpses are glowy when they have loot on them or not. I'm pretty sure they are, but I don't know if that's like a retail thing or a classic thing. Because I know classic doesn't have AoE looting, but I don't know about the glowiness. But that would be the closest thing I could think of that would be a modern equivalent of select next unopened corpse from Asheron's Call. Which is a very useful button. I am grateful to it. Although I usually do like the jump looting, and it's hard to do like next corpse and then R to use it, and then jump to pick things up. So generally, if I'm doing the jump pickup, I just do it with the manual, just clicking on them. Let's drink some of our many acquired potions here. Because yeah, I would be burning through so much of these rations if I didn't have the food or the potions here. And you know, that'd be fine. I have like infinite money. It's weird how frugal I still am, even in a situation where I have back at my house chest like hundreds and hundreds of pyreal peas and gold peas that could probably buy me like 5 lifetimes worth of elaborate rations. But I'm still like, no, I mustn't use that. I mustn't buy more food than is necessary. Because, you know, it's wasteful. You don't want to be wasteful, do you? How am I doing on medkits, by the way? Not amazingly. I really need to figure out what I'm using all those mana forge keys for. Because one of the quests that I do for Luminance, or at least used to do on a regular basis for Luminance, gives a... Was it braced mana forge key? It's the 2-use one. Let's see. Yeah, braced mana forge key. And it's like, what do I use that for? I already have plenty of level 8 spell components, and everything else you can find in a mana forge chest is just like kind of useless to me at this point, right? I'm pretty sure, because you can't get legendaries out of one of those. And that's kind of what I'm looking for at this point, is just items with legendaries. Maybe they could still have good weapons. Because, you know, usually I don't... Well, I was going to say usually I don't look for weapons with legendaries, per se, but it could be a complete game changer if your weapon has, like, legendary heart thirst or something like that. Because that stacks on top of everything else and can just make it an absolutely amazing weapon. Like, on Reef Cull, once again, back when I would play there, I actually bought from the auction house, which I so miss just being able to go to the auction house and shop dozens and dozens of items that are far better than anything I usually find. But anyways, I managed to buy I think it was a fire wand that was already rented from that the marketplace, and I think it had legendary defender on it. And so this wand, once it was like fully tinkered up, because it only had the rend on it, it didn't have any other tinkers, but I put undead slayer on it and a bunch of melee defense tinkers, so it got up to 40% overall melee defense. And I was just invincible while using that. Nothing could hit me in melee combat. And that was pretty fun. Although, now that I've played the game more and have, you know, kind of gotten more used to the late game stuff, I've kind of realized that melee defense isn't the most important stat. It's definitely important, especially against certain bosses, but overall, having a good magic defense stat is probably more important, and having attack skill increase would be important as well. Maybe elemental damage bonus for wands would be far better than just some melee defense increase, but really any legendary on a weapon does seem to kind of elevate it to the next level. So perhaps even weapons wouldn't be all that good out of Mana Forge chests, or at least you could find stuff that's way better out of legendary chests. Ooh, more ninjas. Okay, let's kill this last Ripper here. And then switch over to our fire weapon and start obliterating them. And by obliterate, I mean between 30 to 100 damage per hit, which is not that great. I don't know what these things are weak to exactly. I mean, I can kind of assume since they're human, they're probably just weak to any elemental type stuff, but still, I've never found, at least on this character, which one of these weapons will do the best damage, because I don't have an acid weapon or a lightning weapon. Really, my main stuff is just, I have slashing weapon, weapon that gives Gossamer Flesh, weapon that does fire damage and Undead Slayer, and Shadow Slaying weapon. And I have a bludgeoning weapon, which is pretty decent, but not that great. It's not like an endgame type bludgeoning weapon, it's just, it is a bludgeoning weapon I have, because overall, any bludgeoning is better than no bludgeoning. And I've been so struggling for bludgeoning. I think I've talked about it before on stream, but it is quite a crime that there is no good quest bludgeoning weapons for two-handers. Like, I think the Tetsubo Slugger from, like, a level 30 quest is the highest level bludgeoning two-hander that I can remember off the top of my head. Aside from rares, of course, there's just none. And it's really criminal, I must say. But I think that's just because two-handed weapons was added semi-close to the end of the game getting new content. So, like, a lot of the newest content has stuff, like the Viridian Rise has a two-handed weapon variant, and I'm pretty sure the... what is it called? Rinthid? Was it Rinthid Plains? I don't think I've ever been there, so I don't quite remember. But, I mean, that's like higher level stuff than I have ever really gotten to myself. Probably because I don't play with a group very often. Because, you know, no one wants to play with me. And it's very sad. But that stuff seems to be a little bit above my pay grade right now. Someday, maybe. Ooh, more ninjas already. That's not amazing. I mean, it's good. Once again, it's always nice when I see these guys, but also it's stressful because it's like, well, now there's actual danger. Whereas even when debuffed, the Olthoi don't really do that much damage. But the ninjas definitely do. Okay, attack the middle guy so we can kill off the guy on the end. There we go. And switch to fire weapon. Ow. Yeah, you see? Let's use one of these, just get rid of those. But these guys are dangerous if they vuln you. They're frost spells whenever they actually hit. Like 80% of the time I just don't get hit by most of their spells, but if they get a lucky vuln and then get a lucky bolt, you can be in a lot of pain. And I do not like it. I do remember back in the day, I think on the retail servers, I used to be afraid of moving on to the Rippers because I was afraid that the ninjas would spawn in the middle of the night while my character was macroing and just kill my character immediately, which it was a very valid concern. Because if your character's set up to fight Olthoi and all of a sudden you're getting vulned, sometimes the macro AI is just not sufficient. It just doesn't know how to handle it. We're getting quite a few shurikens. See, I just had to do it on stream, and all of a sudden we get much better luck. Because I don't even think I've killed, like, all that many Olthoi just yet today. And yet we're already at almost a full piece of the armor shurikens-wise. But I've also figured out, I didn't actually know this for sure, because the wiki wasn't, I don't know, maybe it wasn't fully updated, or maybe it was just slightly misinformed, but it was saying that the society chests, where you get the society armor, drops up to level 7, or tier 7 gear. And I was kind of upset about that, because I was like, oh, well, that means you could never get legendaries, because legendaries are only in tier 8 gear, right? Well, I just looted some society chests not too long ago, I think yesterday, and actually did get a legendary buff on one of the pieces of armor. So that was quite nice, and it was good to see. Because on my archer, I've been wondering what set bonus I should be going for. Because, I mean, there's, of course, like, the Tinkerer's set bonus, because my archer is also my Tinkering character. But I don't think that would help very much against actual bosses and, like, big quests. So I was trying to see which one I would get, and the obvious answer would be the archer's set. But all that did was it add, I think it was 20 to missile attack and 20 to missile defense. And while that's really useful, because, you know, missile defense, or not missile defense, missile attack is very good because of how the accuracy bar works. But at the same time, it seemed like it might be more useful to have attributes to some degree, because you're already going to get a good amount of that skill. You know, you're getting plus 20 if you use the full archer's set, but you could be getting plus 15 of every attribute if you use the society gear, and that already is going to give you not only a bit of the missile attack, but also all the defenses, which I suppose if you were playing in a group wouldn't be the best. Because if you're in a group, the archer probably isn't going to be tanking anything and wouldn't need to have well-rounded offense and defensive skills. They would just need as much offense as is humanly possible. But my archer, seeing as how I am all alone, is probably going to need to use both, like, to be proficient in both defense and offense consistently. So I felt that getting the plus 15 of every attribute would actually be very good and well-rounded for my archer. But I was worried because it didn't look like the society armor could have legendaries, but I did indeed get one. I think I still have it. If, you know, I would go inspect it, but I'm killing things right now, so they'll have to wait just a minute. There we go. These larvae probably don't matter. But yeah, this one, I don't think legendary armor does anything for me, because if I remember correctly, armor only increases natural armor, And natural armor only comes into play when you don't have a higher armor value somewhere. So, like, if you're wearing armor that only gives 20 armor level, but you have, like, 200 natural armor, then I think that it then makes it so any attack going through that area is blocked by the natural armor and not the actual armor. But if you have stuff that, you know, like here, 660 armor level, no amount of natural armor is going to surpass that, so it doesn't really matter. No matter how much natural armor you stack up, it's never going to surpass that. So I don't think legendary armor itself is a good thing, but it does show that it can have legendaries on it. So I just need to wait for some good, you know, some actual good drops on that. And I think it could work out pretty well. Although I realized there was a 24-hour timer on picking up armor. So I'm going to need to have both this character and my archer, and probably anyone else I can get up to level 180, all spamming the society dailies enough to get the trade tokens, and all turn those in 25 a day to get an armor token, or an armor writ. Because just getting one character having one pull a day would take so very long if you're looking for specific buffs. But since I got two characters, hopefully that will speed up the process. Because yeah, my archer is almost level 180, which will be very exciting. Because then I can get them into the society and stop just incessantly trying to spam that one quest over and over every day for the large amount of XP it gives me. That's kind of what I like about the end game of Asheron's Call, is even though you can still get XP, XP becomes like a secondary stat. You know, like in WoW, the end game doesn't even start until you've hit level 60, and then XP just literally doesn't exist because you can't get XP anymore. But in Asheron's Call, it's like you can still get the XP, you can still collect a lot of it, because usually the end game starts around level 180 or 200, maybe like level 220. No, probably 200, because 200 is where a lot of the quests, like level requirements, come off. So I think maybe 200 would be the point that the true end game has just started. But you can still get 75 levels after that, and I think the amount of XP that those 75 levels encompass is probably more than the previous 200 levels, or as much as the previous 200 levels, because it is an insanely high amount of XP to get those last 75 levels. As, you know, is evident from here, where I still need 1 billion XP before I level to 226, even though my total experience in my character's entire life is 71 billion, or almost 72 billion. So it's like, how does that work? How is it that one level is 1/70th of my character's total XP? It just gets absolutely insane after a while. But that is why I'm building up stipends, so that by the time I get to like level 260, I'll have just enough to redeem 10 or 15 levels worth of experience certificates, and then, you know, I'll just be able to get to max level that way. Because that's pretty much the best way to do it without macroing. That's at least how my dad did it back in the day. Even though he did macro, he got his war mage, that was his main character, up to I think 250, 260, and then I guess he was kind of falling out of the game right at the end when the servers were going to shut down eventually, and it went free to play. He just kind of he got more invested into WoW and less invested in Asheron's Call, and so he really just logged in either to macro or to pick up his weekly stipends, and so that's pretty much all he did. But he ended up getting, I think, 2 max level by just logging in, grabbing them, getting the XP certificates, and every 2 weeks just get a free level, you know, and at the high level he was at, that was probably the most efficient way to do it, because it would probably take like 3 days of macroing to actually get him a level at that point. But, you know, that's probably how it's going to be for this character, because no macroing kind of means your high level leveling up options are not all that great. You pretty much just need to find some quests that give insane amounts of XP and do those every day for like months on end to get to 275, or have a bunch of other characters that are passing up XP to you, which I don't have because I didn't make the I didn't spread my characters out between my 2 accounts very efficiently, and that means that I couldn't have any comprehensive allegiance tree with myself, which is kind of sad, kind of a missed opportunity, but you know, you don't really think about how you're gonna set up your allegiance when it's just you on a server. Like, I mean, if I really wanted to set up an allegiance, I could have had like a dozen accounts and had one character on each account and just had them all swear under each other to make the one character at the pinnacle have all the XP going to them, which would have been possible. You know, it would have entirely been possible because it's my own server, so there's no limit to number of accounts I could make. I could just keep printing the XP that way, but I didn't do that. I put pretty much all my main characters on one account, and that's why I needed the buff bot on the second account, because none of my mages could buff my other characters now. Because, you know, you can't have 2 characters on the same account logged in simultaneously, as far as I know. Yeah, it's kind of funny the way that macroing has become, like, for a large portion of the Asheron Skull community, it's become pretty much like the main way to play the game. That there's no like they don't really do much else outside of macroing, which is really interesting because it's almost like a mini game that's built into the game. It's like an idle game almost, where you set it up and then just kind of let it run overnight and come back to see all the gains that you've gotten, which, to be fair, there's a lot of interesting stuff in idle games, you know, that can keep one interested. So I see why that became such a big thing. But I've seen many things where people have these characters that have done absolutely nothing their entire existence except macro. Like, just recently, I watched a stream where a guy was playing on one of those characters where the character obviously had never really been used for anything except macros. It seemed like they had the Academy wand on their bar still, and it's just like, you could tell nothing else had really happened here except for setting up the macro, letting it go overnight, and then giving it better gear. But they never really, it didn't feel like a lived-in kind of character. And it was very interesting to watch the person, I don't know why they were trying to, but on this level 150 character, they were trying to kill, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but one of the big diamond golem guys. I think it's Suzerain, but I don't know how to pronounce it. I've never really looked into that. But, you know, the big boss diamond golem, level 185, which for me on a level 150 probably wouldn't be an issue. But on a macro character that has never done anything but like kill Olthoi and enemies at Withered, it was like kicking their butt. Because and the person even, like, and I quote, they said that fighting the diamond, the big diamond guy, that he was fighting it old school, and by old school they meant actually at the controls playing it manually. And that, like, broke my brain that that people consider that to be old school now. But because that's how I've always played. But anyway, it was really funny because the diamond golem just absolutely wrecked them like 4 times, and I thought it was really funny, but also like really not like sad as in it was like sad as in tragic because you just kept seeing the vitae pile up and it was like, oh no, and then they go back and try to kill it with like 5% more vitae every time, and you're like, no, don't do it, just turn in a death item, please. Like, you must have some kind of death recovery items on you, right? But apparently they didn't really, and they just kept racking up the vitae and dying to the same golem like 4 times in a row. And it was tragic. I don't know. Gotta be at the keys and alert, or one death is 20% vitae. Yeah. I never got high enough level yet that the vitae ramped up to that degree, but I heard from my brother that the higher level you get, the more vitae you get per death. And that's just insane to me. Like, I don't know. Dying once and getting 20% vitae would be so devastating. But, oh wait, I was gonna say, you could just have death items and turn those in, but didn't they make it so quest XP is 0, including trophies, right? Or maybe trophies still give XP, I don't know. It's caps at 60% too. Ugh. Oh, that is diabolical. I was gonna say, imagine having 100% cap on vitae, but that would just literally make your character unplayable because you'd have 0 of all skills, I'm pretty sure. 0 turn in XP. So the only way to get your vitae back is to actually kill things. But you start, like, from 1 death, you have 20% vitae. How do you even do that? I guess you would just need to go and kill lower level enemies, probably, and just kind of struggle through the lower XP gain until your vitae gets back. So, definitely possible, but that does not sound easy at all. I guess that's why they call it hard mode. Yeesh. But yeah, definitely looking at the Asheron's Call streams on Twitch, you can find some absolute gems. Like, when I was just booting it up, I was not assuming I would be seeing some dude getting obliterated by a diamond golem, but there we were. So it was quite the treat. But that's also why I'm streaming Asheron's Call today. Can you guys stop being behind me, please? Okay, kill the larva, I guess. It was because I watched that and I was like, man, I kind of wanna do a stream of that myself, not specifically killing diamond golems, but But I'm glad that Tide is still going strong. I was a bit worried about it, because I heard stuff about it shutting down and stuff, but then it just... I think it did for a time, and then yeah, I stopped hearing about it shutting down. I think it might have switched owners or something. I should leave the looting until all these guys are dead. We're here for the ninjas anyway. How is the stipend doing on this character? Still 2 days left on that. Alright. I never used to use the... What are those called? What are they called? Contracts, that's it. I never used to use the contract system ever in this game until just recently. I realized you could get a stipend contract and it just keeps track of the timer in-game automatically, so I didn't have to go into the journal like I usually do. Like you see here, Bellis and stipend, because they both have a 1-week timer. I would do them at the same time, and then I would just, reset the timer that is like a 7-day timer on that, and then I just did it all manually, and I would just check the journal anytime that's up. But the contracts were a bit more convenient, for sure. Because there were so many times that I forgot to set the timer. And then I would just be completely in the dark. But luckily, keeping the stipend and Bellis on the same timer meant I could just go talk to the stipend guy to see if the, you know, if the timer was actually up or not. Any more corpses here I haven't checked? A few. Okay, that's it. But let's clear this last room over here. And then I think I'm just going to go turn in the shurikens and see if we get another piece of armor. Because we have a lot of the shurikens here. And, you know, it's not too hard to just run back down through the dungeon, so... might as well go turn in and come back. Yeah, I don't know if I like the larva or dislike them. I mean, they give me the larva steaks, which, you know, is free XP. But at the same time, they have such a long death animation that it really messes up your attack timing and everything. Okay, let's get out of here real quick. But that's something I need to farm up on my other characters as well, is the Aphis Lassel recall. Because it's so useful. It's pretty much just another portal tie that is just constantly portal tied straight to the town network. Because you see, the Aphis Lassel place just has that town network portal right next to it. So it's so convenient, but it's so hard to get, because I think it's like, what, a 1% chance or a 5% chance or some really low percentage number every time you do that, or no, wait, because you do the Tusker quest to get the 3 wishes, I think, and then I think you can turn in the Tusker Paw 3 times to the same thing, which I think was the item enchantment one, and each time it'll give you a 1% chance to get the recall, if I remember correctly. Or no, wait, that was Tusker Fist. Sorry, that was Tusker Fist that I was thinking of. How do you get the recall? I think that might have been a 100% chance from something else. You still haven't given me a piece? Bro, that was so many shurikens. Okay. Well, back to the old grind. Oh, I wanted to check again. I checked before the stream started if the kill task had reset yet, but it hadn't. So let's go talk to the dude again, just double check, see if in the last hour the timer is reset. Because I don't know when I turned that in yesterday, but there's a slight offset to it, and an even bigger offset because I, on my own server, changed the quest delta, so it makes it so that the 24-hour quests actually have like a... Okay, the 24-hour quests that actually usually have a 20-hour timer to give you some leeway. Yeah, see, it's up now. But with the updated quest delta that I added in, it made it so that 24-hour quests that have 20-hour timers now actually have like 16-hour timers or something. So it's still something where you can't do it more than once a day. But at the very least, like, if you complete the quest in the evening, it gives you enough leeway that you could possibly then complete the quest, like, in the afternoon the next day. You don't need to always do it at the same time of day. Because that was a very big limiting factor on my ability to do dailies before I set that setting. So it helps a lot. But the kill task is up again, so we can do that. Not that it really gets me very much. I mean, it gets my highest level character some XP, which is a significant amount. It's like 400 mil, I think. Or maybe that's the other quest. I don't remember. It's a lot of XP. And I do have quest XP increased on the server, but not kill XP, to incentivize leveling through non-macro means. But yeah, it's a lot of XP for just killing 250 rippers, which I'm going to be doing anyways, because these dang ninjas just refuse to show their faces. but we're very close to the next shuriken, or not the next, we're very close to the next piece of gear. It should just be 2 or 4 more shurikens, I think. And then there'll only be 1 piece I need left. So I would say the official count is probably that we need 18 more of the shurikens. And we should eventually get that. I don't know, it depends on the drops and the random chances of them appearing. But we might get it today. Probably not, because it might take a long time. But you know, it is how it is. Yeah, it is kind of sad, because I've tried to get a lot of people to play with me on my server, but nobody that I know IRL really is too interested in playing retail type AC. Like, my mom, she's played AC, but she's not a huge fan of it. My dad used to be a huge fan of Asheron's Call, but doesn't really play it anymore. And he said the only way that he would play it consistently would be if my stepmom also was really interested in it and wanted to play it, but we tried to get her into it and she wasn't just yet too interested. I think there's still hope, possibly, if they eventually get bored of WoW Classic. Maybe eventually they'll come to the dark side and join me on some Asheron's Call, but not anytime soon, probably. But then my brother is far more interested in playing on servers like Dekarutide or the Tower, ones that really kind of mix up the formula for it, which I understand, but you know, I just want someone to play with, you know? There's only so far you can get playing entirely on your own. And sometimes you just want to be able to kill Gaerlin easier. I don't think I've ever successfully killed Gaerlin at the quest's actual level. Because once you go above 150, the reasons to kill Gaerlin go down immensely. So while this character may be able to kill Gaerlin, I don't know if there'd be any reason to. Because normally you do that for the Olthoi slaying weapons early on. But by this point, it would probably be easier just to try to build up strength to kill the Paradox Touched Olthoi Queen, which I don't know if I'm even close to being able to do. I think in order to do that, I would need to get to the point where I can get rid of Creature Enchantment and Life Magic with my buff bot being, you know, fully set up. And then I would have enough skill credits to up my melee defense to specialized. Then I might have a chance at beating that enemy. But I remember on Reefkull, back when my brother used to play with me on there, we tried to kill the Paradox Touched Olthoi Queen, and we did do it, but I think he died once or twice trying to do it. And I barely survived. I was getting obliterated by it because I was on my mage and I was not very tanky. He was on his melee, and I think he had the Sanguinary Aegis. And luckily that kept him alive pretty decently, but it wasn't perfect. So yeah, it was a whole to-do. But this character, I've tried, quote-unquote, to do the Paradox Touched Olthoi Queen quest, but before I could even start it, I would always check to see if I can actually kill the Paradox Touched Olthoi Sentinels outside, because you need to get one of the scent glands before you can even start the quest. And usually those Sentinels alone completely wreck my character. So I definitely need better melee defense before I even consider fighting the Queen. And even more than that, like, the Queen also has really strong acid spells, so I'll need to stack up probably acid ward cantrips and spells, and additionally get as much magic defense and melee defense as is humanly possible. It probably won't be easy, though. And even then, I just don't know if it's even really that easily possible solo. I'm betting it is if I just, get some good stuff. Like, if on my archer, I actually successfully get a full set of the society gear, that could work out. Because the society gear, if it can have the legendaries on it, I could then have the full dedication set and, like, legendary of every major stat and ability. And that would be very nice. Because that's probably what you need in order to beat, or like at least to solo the end game content. And that's probably what I've been missing. Because even back in the day on my old mage, once again on Reefcall, I harken back to Reefcall a lot because I played there for a long time before I started on here, and then I've been playing on here for a long time, as is evident by you know, zero macroing level 225. It takes a while. At least for me, I don't know. Other people might have ways to do it that are a lot faster. I do not. um, but yeah, back on Reefcall, I had my mage, and they had full level 8 spells and, all sorts of cool stuff. They had full upgraded ancient relic armor and just the whole 9 yards. Oh, hi, ninjas. I should probably drink some stamina potions before you guys start wrecking me. Because I'll need that stamina to survive all of this. But anyways, yeah, so I had the whole 9 yards. What I thought was like peak endgame efficiency, because back on retail, having the like relic gear, the ancient relic armor, was pretty much like the end game stuff that my dad and I got way back in retail. So in my mind, it was like, oh yeah, we're prepared for the end game. This is like max level stuff. And then I realized, oh wait, I get destroyed by anything in Tutu or Hoshino Fortress. Like, I learned the hard way that I was not endgame prepared, that the gear that I remembered getting at level like 260 in retail was not the preferable. Because I was pretty young back when Asheron's Call was officially, well, when I mainly played Asheron's Call when it was officially out. So I didn't quite understand the heights that a character could climb to, and I'm just now kind of learning the max efficiency that you can get to with all the legendary buffs and having your own armor sets and not quest armor. Because, like, quest armor, it's good up until a point. You know? Like, the ancient relic armor, it can get you places, and it has a lot of buffs, but if you can buff yourself, all you really need is cantrips. And that's it. Like, I'm hoping that my archer will be able to get all their regular buffs. Let's just do this. If you'll... Oh, it's because it wasn't in attack... Why wasn't it working when I wasn't in attack mode? Anyways, we'll ignore that for a minute. Yeah, so my archer, if they can get all the armor buffs from their own item enchantment, because obviously they're going to have their own item enchantment for teleportation magic. So if they can just do that and buff their own armor, then the buff bot can buff them with all the rest of the level 8 spells. And then... what else? Did I pick up the shurikens? Yeah, maybe. Possibly. I'll check again before I leave. And then the cantrips are all I would need on my armor and jewelry, because I'd have all the other buffs from everything else, which would be quite nice. And I can just focus on getting all the applicable cantrips, like legendary quickness, legendary coordination, legendary missile weapons, probably legendary endurance and legendary health, if that's a thing. I think it is. Anything like that, and I would just need to get those on the applicable armor pieces, and then hopefully weapons with legendaries, but I don't hold out too much hope for that, because that would take some insane luck to get, missile weapons that not only have the legendaries, but also have decent stats, and also that I manage to rend possibly. Although I guess you can get foolproofs, can't you? I don't know. I'm not really at the point that I can get Coliseum coins on my own because I'm wimpy. I'm not at that point yet. At least this character wasn't. I did manage to fully flag this character solo for the Coliseum bosses, all the way up through the Olthoi matron, I believe, the Devil Swarm, or whatever they're called, Demon Swarm. I don't remember, but that was pretty impressive to me because I mean it's the freaking Coliseum. Like in my mind, I remember getting dragged through that on my low level characters back in the day when you'd have like a full group with a bunch of high level people all like clearing room to room, and I wouldn't dare enter the next room before it was cleared. And when I was younger, it was just such a big endeavor and so like in depth and cool. But then when I grew up and was playing on this character, trying to get through the Coliseum to self flag for it, I'll, I kind of realized you can do that. You know, it is indeed possible to just do it on your own. Although I probably wouldn't get super far, because you only have an hour to do it. So overall, in that hour, I probably wouldn't be able to get many Coliseum coins in my current state. I still need to improve the character a bit, get a bit stronger, definitely get better magic defense, because those dang sleeches. I don't know, I feel like my absolute nemesis in this game is sleeches, because they just cast so many spells. They're like wisps or naths, but 10 times worse, and I do not like them. And there is an entire room in the Colosseum dedicated to sleeches, and I think also crystal golem viceroys or something, which is not great. Of course, that wouldn't really matter for this character because crystal golems would just melt if you attack them with melee. They're really only defensive against magic. But yeah, it's not a good room. I don't like that room. The room with the sleeches. Not a fun place to be. But luckily, I think that was the last room this character had to do in order to get flagged for all the Coliseum bosses I wanted to do. But you know, they'll just continue getting stronger, and maybe someday they'll be strong enough to solo the entire Coliseum, and then I can get all the foolproof salvage that I want, and we can actually rend things without worrying about 2/3 of them just disappearing, you know, just gone, reduced to atoms. It's kind of messed up that when you break something with when you're trying to tinker something and it breaks, like you would think that you could at least salvage the thing that you broke and keep the bag of salvage you used on it, but it is just brutal. It's a brutal system because it's like this bag of salvage that you worked hard to make, it's gone. This weapon that you got lucky enough to be able to find and pick up, it's gone. And you can't get either of them back. You get nothing. You're just left with your sadness. And I'm pretty sure I've told the story before, but the time that a 90, I think it was either 99 or 98% chance of success, I ended up failing a tinker on something like that, and it broke a pretty good weapon that I was working on, and I was so depressed about that. It was so high of a percent. Like when something is at 99 or 98%, you don't even consider the idea that it could fail, because in the human brain, that's just inconceivably small chances of failure. But it still happened. And people have told me that the game like lies somewhat when it comes to the actual chances to imbue something or chances to tinker something. So maybe it was actually significantly lower. Maybe it was only like a 90% chance, and that's what I failed instead of the 99 or 98% that it showed. But I don't know. I don't know how that works exactly. I don't know what the math is behind it, but I was so sad. But, you know, foolproofs would be nice. Because I think those always... do the foolproofs always work, or is it just that it's an imbue that can get up to 100% chance? Ooh, ninjas. Ow. Let me just make sure I stay healed. Hit these guys high to blind them. Make it so maybe they hit me a little less often. Alright, but that's 2 more shurikens for me. Man, but no game hurts my voice like Asheron's Call. Like, I think I just have too much to say, usually. And maybe it's just that there's not a bunch of, like, background noise, or that I can kind of just autopilot most of the game's regular functions. So I end up not actually paying full attention to the game. Or at least I can get away with not paying full attention to the game, so I end up talking more than in other games where I actually have to, like, use my brain power to play the game. With here, it's just like 100% of my brain power can go towards just talking about things, and that ends up making me talk way more than I usually do, and thus my voice gets absolutely thrashed by, you know, just an hour and a half in. Whereas with other games, it's like, oh, I could go probably 4 hours before my voice actually starts to give out. But already, my throat is quite sore, so that's not good. Especially because we haven't even gotten the 1 ninja armor piece yet. Although, we probably have enough shurikens for it by now. So let's just go until I finish the daily task. That's 76 Olthoi Rippers. We need 250, which is a lot. But if we don't have all the shurikens by then we'll just end for the day. Because, you know, I don't think my voice is going to last much longer than hitting that, the end of that quest. Oh, 3 items right there. That's pretty good. What's this red thing? Oh, I do need to actually go and do the red Aetheria quest. Not what I want. Get out of here. And, you know, I don't know what, like, empirically is the absolute best Aetheria combination, but personally, I like the Surge of Regen, just because whenever it's active, I can kind of take my eyes off of my health, unless I get hit by spells. Like, it usually covers up any and all melee damage. So, it really can improve your DPS by making it so you don't need to stop and heal nearly as often. Which, once again, would be entirely mitigated by being in a group. Because you'd probably just have a mage in the back that's supposed to heal you anyway. But in solo, you kind of need to deal with stuff yourself, so my entire DPS is just how long can I go before having to heal. So I feel like Surge or Regen helps quite a bit. Or at the very least, it's just my preference to suit my kind of lazy playstyle of just, I want to never have to stop and heal. Just game heal me yourself. Just give me the Surge or Regen and I'll be happy. But finding red Aetheria with Surge or Regen is not super easy. But since I did just hit 225, I think yesterday, I now have enough levels to actually go get the red Aetheria level unlocked. I just haven't gotten around to going to do it yet. But soon I will. And then I can have a red Aetheria, which will be absolutely revolutionary. Because guess what? That'll be 1 more Aetheria casting Surge or Regen on me. which I think means that it'll just proc much more often. I'm not sure, though. I don't know how the surges work exactly, but if I could get 100% uptime on Surge of Regen, I would be happy. I'd be a happy person, because I would just never need to worry about healing again, you know? Just the only time I even need to think about it is when I get hit by spells. Which is also... Oh, hi. I was gonna look at something else, but you guys have appeared. Let me just drink down some of these. Throw on one of these. Let me just try to stay topped up on health here, if at all possible. Yeah, because hits like that. Ow, what the heck, guys? What are you guys doing both throwing spells at me simultaneously? And can you like, get into a more orderly line? It's hard to hit both of you like that when you're not being orderly. I'm just glad that most of their spells miss. Like, if these guys actually had good magic skill, I would be completely screwed. And I guess they do have good magic skill. It's just my magic defense is specialized and infinity, so there's that. Although I haven't gotten focus and self to infinity just yet. I probably could, but I don't know. I'm not sure what to use XP for at this point. Because, like, you have augmentations, and I need XP for augmentations, but I also need augmentation gems for augmentations, and I don't have any of those left. So it's like, should I just... I don't know, should I just put my XP into, like, focus and self to get a minute amount more magic defense skill? And I guess more skill on my creature and item enchantment as well to help my buffing efforts, but, you know. And I guess if I'm ever going to have really good armor buffs, I would need to get those skills up as well. Because I don't know, maybe someday I would be able to get enough item enchantment to cast level 8s. If I really focus on it. Plus, there's that augmentation that gives you an effective plus 10 magic skill, I believe. So, that might be very useful in getting to the augmentation, not augmentation, the incantation level of spells. Alright, and we kill the larva, because they're annoying, and they sneak up on you. Get over here. Okay. Now for the main room, which... It's so weird how many Olthoi there are in this room, but how infrequently they actually give me ninjas. I mean, it's completely anecdotal, but I feel like the rippers in this room drop ninjas less often than rippers anywhere else in the dungeon. Which is probably just random chance that I just have gotten very unlucky with the rippers in this room, even though there's more here than anywhere else in the dungeon. Oh hey, there they are. We've been waiting for you guys. Finally, you're appearing in this room here. Yeah, and the slashing does not do good damage against them, but luckily I can be killing an Olthoi at the same time as hitting these two. So that is a benefit. Ouch. Okay, and my healing kit is still good for now. Yeah, and I keep attacking these guys on high because I need that magic skill of theirs to go as far down as possible. Because the less magic skill they have, the smoother the engagement will go. Okay, I kept hearing buffs running out sounds, and I was worried, but I think that was just the debuffs they were putting on me were all running out. And that's 2 more shurikens. It takes a while. Although, I don't know if this set of armor is more or less, you know, time intensive to get than the relic armor, which I still haven't fully gotten. I really need to go about getting the rest of the relic armor, because I just have 1 more piece of relic armor for this character to finish getting. And then I don't know if I'm getting a suit of relic armor for anybody else. Like, I'm hoping the archer will just stick with the ninja armor for the rest of existence, or at least for a while until they get society armor. Or maybe, no, I was gonna say, maybe they could possibly get the fortified ninja armor that's from Hoshino Fortress, but I don't think I would ever be strong enough to solo the like major quests for that. Because I forget, what is it, like Hoshino Must Die or something? I don't remember what the quest name was, but there is like a big quest at that place that really does not seem like the kind of thing you solo. But maybe someday. Maybe if I get all my legendaries. But if I have all my legendaries, ironically, I don't think I would need the fortified ninja armor. So I don't know. I've never had a fully custom set of armor before, I don't think. All of my highest level characters have always used like relic armor and other such high level quest armor. Because, you know, it's difficult to put together a suit of armor, especially if you're not macroing. You know, just so many different variables you're looking out for. But when it comes to the society armor, luckily, I don't think I would need to worry too much about anything else. I would just need to look for the legendaries. Because I would know that they're always in the right set. You know, the armor set bonus. And I would always know that it would at least have decent armor levels, right? Although I guess maybe not. Maybe some of it really has crappy armor levels. But is that too important? Because if you buff them up enough, probably doesn't matter what the base level was, so long as it was halfway decent. And that only affects melee damage anyway, so... Well, not really melee, just non-magic damage. But you get what I mean. And magic damage is the #1 thing that I'm most worried about, so... Hopefully it'll be fine. So yeah, they'll probably just use the ninja armor up until they get society armor. And then they'll pass the ninja armor down to someone else. Probably one of my melee characters. No, don't use. I guess that's fine. Because we needed stamina, but... I meant to hit this, not this. Don't we just love killing more Olthoi Rippers? Ooh, we actually have a lot of shurikens now. Maybe I should go turn these in and get our piece of ninja armor. Although I guess it doesn't really matter because it won't upgrade this character. And we're just trying to get to the 250 Rippers anyway. And get as many of the shurikens as we can possibly get along the way. Although with the rate that we've been getting shurikens, we may be able to actually get the second to last piece and the final piece all in this one stream. You see that? That guy was here. I ran around the corner, he went and flew around there. and got stuck. Very annoying. Because now he's not coming and attacking me. They're too fast for their own good, really. Such a sad thing to kill a single Olthoi as a two-handed character. Just anytime you have to kill something, like a solo enemy, it just feels like you're wasting so much of your DPS potential. Okay, you come with me. We're gonna drag you up here. And hopefully you follow us up here so we can kill you along with all the rest of the guys. Are you actually stuck down there, or are you just visually bugged out? It's hard to tell. Well, I'm only hitting one enemy up here, so maybe. Okay. Loot the enemies. We gotta feed our lust for getting gold and pyreal peas. We must always increase the amount that we have in the bank, especially because my war mage just sucked out like hundreds of thousands, probably, no, yeah, millions and millions of pyreals, because every time I level up a character, because I'm not macroing, the best way to level up and learn all the level 7 spells is just by using the professors in Arwick, and that takes a lot of MMDs. And I'm no, you know, master at collecting MMDs. I know there's some people that have, like, stacks upon stacks upon stacks of MMDs somewhere, and I don't know how they do it. I assume maybe they just, they either have something set up, like they have their macro loot table to pick up items of high value, and they just know very well how to collect that stuff really quickly, and I just don't. Or maybe they just have a group that they do a bunch of high level dailies, and each of those give like 10 MMDs per or something. Especially if you're doing like the multi-box thing, then you could possibly get like, you do one quest, but it counts as like 5 or 6 quests because you have a bunch of your different characters with you. I don't know. I don't know how they do it and get like hundreds and hundreds of MMDs, but for me, usually the MMDs come through doing lower level quests like the, oh, what is it? It's that one quest that you get the letters from like the breached hive, the small hive, and the eviscerator layer. And you turn each one of those in for an MMD. And then you have the cavernous Olthoi chasm that gives you MMDs. And all the Olthoi pincers that give you other trade notes. So that's usually where my money comes from, is while leveling up, I just do those over and over and over again. And get a bunch of money from them. But then that amount of money is offset by, you know, oh, you need 40 MMDs for creature enchantment level 7 spells at the guys, and I think 26 MMDs for life spells, maybe 16 MMDs for war magic. I don't remember exactly, but it adds up to be, I think at least, if you're getting all of them, at least 80 MMDs. And it is expensive. So I definitely need to recuperate the money stores at my house, because I probably sold like 3 stacks of gold peas and 1 stack of pyreal peas to be able to get the last of the MMDs I needed to afford it. It's you know, it's a lot of money. I'm not a fan of spending all that, though. I suppose since there isn't a marketplace on this server, then really what else will I use the MMDs on other than buying level 7 spells at the professors? Although, I guess, actually there's a lot to use MMDs on, even without other people, right? Because I was thinking, what do the people that sell items at the marketplace use the MMDs they get on, other than, you know, buying things from other vendors at the marketplace? You can't have a currency that is not useful for anything other than bartering goods, you know, because it needs to have some other use outside of that to give it its value. So, but then I was thinking, well, there's the outside Sanamar, there are the little, there's the cage fight, and I think that can get you alternative currencies if you bet correctly in that fight, and that takes MMDs, I'm fairly certain. And then there's also that you can turn in a rare plus an MMD, or maybe 2 MMDs, I don't remember. But you can turn in a rare plus some money and re-roll the rare into something else. So I know that one is pretty popular, because then that's a good way of getting, like, turning your jump rares into something like a weapon tinkering rare, which could be exceptionally useful. Ooh, more ninjas. So yeah, I'll definitely need to... I'll definitely need to have plenty of MMDs eventually to take advantage of those other things that you can use the money on. Especially because, I mean, there's also the gambling, which I would never actually spend the MMDs on the gambling, because it's far easier to get those gambling tokens from killing just Tusker guards and then turning in all their letters to get the low and mid stakes tokens. But yeah, I still need probably like 10 more. How many golden gromnies do you need for a mansion? I need a lot of golden gromnies. And I think the only consistent way you can get them is either from one quest that I still don't have any verification that I can actually do on this character yet, or you need to get them simply from gambling. So, it is a sad day. Though I did get a golden gromny somewhat recently, just by pure chance. My my war mage was going through and doing the Tusker tusks, and they got a couple, like, lucky gold letters from the drops in level 80 Tusker dungeons. And so I turned them in and used the tokens, and I actually got a golden gromny, which was quite nice. I think I have like 3 now, 3 or 4, and I think you either need 10 or 15, maybe 20. You need an amount around there to get a mansion. And I've been working hard. I already have every other thing. I have all the lucky gold letters. I have all the dread Madakar paws, all the idle eyes. I went through like a big farming montage a while back to get all those rare items. And now just the golden gromnies are the last thing that is stopping me from getting a mansion. It's very sad. I'm looking forward to moving into my new mansion home eventually. I still need to figure out which mansion I want, though, because there's a lot, and nobody else owns a mansion on my server, so I have the pick of the lot, you know? Pick of the litter? I think that would be it. I don't remember I haven't used that turn of phrase in a long time, but it is applicable in this situation, so that's quite nice. But it is very nice not having anybody else, like, taking up housing space on the server. Or, you know, it would take quite a lot of people to take up a significant amount of the housing space, because there's hundreds of houses in the game. But, you know, all of the unique, like, solo cottages and stuff, like my villa right now is out. I can actually show a bit better. I'm pretty sure I've already shown this on stream, but it is... Yeah, keep killing things. We're fine. Where is it? It's not up there. It's over here. Here it is. Yeah. This is my villa. It's the one out on its own private island off the shore, which is very nice. It doesn't really have, like, easy access to anything in particular, or, you know, its location isn't advantageous for any quests, but it's a cool location, and that's why I picked it. It's my nice, fancy island getaway. And before that, let's see. It's kind of dangerous to be fighting and looking at your map. But before that, I had this house down here that was a little solo cottage right outside Calabar. And it has some good views out there as well. So yeah, that's where I used to live. And then I upgraded from cottage to villa, so I'm out here now. And my second account, I set to have a house in Arrowdale. So they're close enough that you can run between them rather easily. Because, you know, I didn't want my second account's house to be a hassle to get to. Because, you know, sometimes you need to switch items between the two houses and, you know, consolidate the storage space and everything. Macro, loot for me. I don't know, maybe it would need, like, peace mode when idle to be able to loot in peace mode, but it was kind of breaking it earlier, so I'll just leave it be. It's probably fine. So 179 Olthoi Rippers, we're getting there. Just need, like, a little under 100 more. Oh, it doesn't pick up Aetheria either. So yeah, it's definitely not perfect with the current loot profile. Because I'd like it to pick up Aetheria and the stamina potions. Because the Aetheria, you can, you know, desiccate them and then turn those in for MMDs. Which, you know, isn't very much. Let's see. I have, what is that, 51? Okay, that's a bit. I think you get 1 per 10, so that's 5 MMDs right there. Plus, then you just pick up every Aetheria you find and see if there's something you want, and if they're not, you just desiccate them. And then, you know, problem solved. It never really becomes an issue. Out of my way. And I ran up here again. That's fine. Oh man, we have a lot of shurikens. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I think 2 or 4 more will get us our next item, and the rest... Let's assume, rather, you know, conservatively, that it'll take 4 more to get the next item. So we have 6 spare in here. And that would mean that we are now at 6 out of 18 for the final piece of ninja gear. I think I've looted all these, right? Yeah. Hard to tell sometimes. Like, if they're in a neat, orderly line, and you can just kind of go left to right or right to left, but there I kind of butchered them very in haphazard directions. which is just no good. So you know what's interesting? I don't know exactly how the spells work in this game, in that, you know, when it comes to melee attacks or even like range attack, anything that uses just a strict weapon that has a damage variance, then your critical strikes will always be, you know, the critical damage on top of the highest of the variants. So it always does a set amount of damage. Like with this weapon, it always does 331, no matter what. Like all the other hits can do, you know, 142, 135, but the crit is always 331 because it's using the highest of the variants. But when it comes to spells, I've seen spells crit for wildly different values. So it almost seems like the spells don't use the higher of the variants to calculate the crit. Because, you know, each spell does have its own variance, but it seems it just takes the existing spell damage, whatever that, like, level of the variance that spell would have hit for, and then, like, double it. So, it is a little inconsistent, which is, it kind of threw me off, because I was expecting my spell crits to do all the same level of damage like the melee hits do, but evidently not. But luckily, once again, that's something that archers have a benefit on, because that means that the archer's attacks will always be hitting, or will always be critting for the max of their variants, because they're more like melee attacks. It really seems like archer is just kind of the combination of multiple of the best things from mage and melee into one character class. And I like that. Though, of course, there's still a lot of benefits that you're losing. Like, if you're melee, you could possibly have a shield or higher durability. And if you're if you're like a mage, you're losing out on survivability. Or if you're an archer instead of a mage, then you're losing out on the survivability that mages get with having easy access to big healing spells and self-buffing and all that stuff. Which is something that I'm kind of worried about when it comes to the buff bot idea. Because, like, I feel like it's a good idea to have the buff bot, and if they get up to level 8 spells, then really you won't need to worry nearly as much about running out of spells, because if you have all 5 of the augmentations and level 8 spells, your spells last 3 hours, which I think is a pretty generous amount of time to get whatever quests done you're trying to do. But having to go back to the house to rebuff every time and log into my other character and get them buff bot ready every 3 hours of playtime on my archer might end up getting annoying, especially if I don't check my buffs and go into a big quest without rebuffing. You know, because like this character right now, they can just rebuff whenever they have to, which is actually, yeah, coming up really soon. Let's do that. But the archer will not be able to just rebuff whenever they want. They'll need to go back to the house and get the buff bot to rebuff them. But if it has a 3-hour time on it, that shouldn't be too bad. I'm just kind of worried about it, because what if at some point that becomes an issue? Probably won't, though. It'll be fine. Or if I'm like super worried about it, I could just set up I could just set up my war mage to follow my archer and just do all my quests with my war mage just trailing behind them. It's just like, buff bot, I need more buffs. You know, just drag them along the entire time just to rebuff me once halfway through the quest. That'd be kind of ridiculous, but maybe worth it. Oh, but for the buff bot to work, I had to get mag tools, which I've never had or used before, but it actually apparently shows you how long approximately it'll take for all of your stuff to run out of mana, which is super useful. So I don't know what. Oh, it even tells you how much mana is needed currently, I think. That's really cool. So yeah, I've never had this before. It looks really useful, uh, but it was apparently necessary for the meta that I was using to get the buff bot working, so I had to get it. So we'll see how much that comes in handy. I even just the telling me what the mana is of all my items without me having to check is already pretty useful. So I like that. I never checked. How many rippers are we at now? I would estimate probably around 200. Right? 207. Okay. That's good. We're making good progress here. It's only, you know, half as many enemies as you need to kill for the Tusker Guard quest. So, you know, it's a lot easier than that. And it gives, like, infinitely more XP than that does. I've always found that it's a bit unfair that that quest only gives 20 mil. Yeah, I guess at that level, 20 mil is pretty significant anyway, but it gets out-leveled. It's at one of those awkward levels where it can't be too high of a bonus, or else it would be overpowered for the people at the lower end of the bracket who can do it. But it also is at one of those levels where the amount of XP that's needed kind of goes up, like, really sharply. So being able to it's like you out level the amount of XP that it gives very quickly, and it's not great, especially with how long it takes to do the quest itself. Like if it was just shorter, it would probably stay relevant a lot longer, but it can take a couple hours to kill 500 Tusker guards, even when you're at a point that you're like proficient at killing them and you out level them significantly, just because that's a very large number of Tuskers. And if anyone else is in the dungeon with you, it just is not good. So it's never been a quest that I do purposefully. This one is, because, you know, I need to get the ninja armor anyway. Might as well do the kill task at the same time. And that's probably what I'll use the Tusker Guard kill task for as well, is probably when I start really grinding for those golden Gromnies and just farming Tusker Guards for their letters. I might just get the Tusker Guard kill task simply so that I'm making quest progress at the same time as just farming up the letters. Why are you not cleaving to a third enemy here? There we go. Ooh, 21. Alright. Few more rooms. Excuse you. I'm busy looting. Can't you see that? You're a very rude Olthoi, you know that? Like, I just go out of attack mode to loot some stuff, and the guy runs up like, this is my chance. He's weak now. You know, I would have normally just killed him, but, you know, as I've been complaining about this whole time, two-handed character. You don't want to have to kill single units. It's just sad. But I've been thinking, eventually, I don't know how far in the future it would be, But if I end up getting this character up to Viridian Rise level, I could start making this weapon better with the, what is it called? I don't remember what it's called. But the thing where you can level up any weapon in the game through all those like quests where it's like, bring me 5 billion Colosseum coins and I will give you a slight upgrade to your weapon. You know? You could do that. And I could do that for this weapon because really, I mean, there are better weapons in the game for sure. I just feel like being able to hit 3 targets simultaneously is such a big DPS upgrade that upgrading this over anything else would make sense, you know? Because if I could get this to be much better than it is now, I would be a happy camper. Oh, but also it's only... I don't know why this came to mind. I think it's because of items that level up. I was thinking about that. And it's only a matter of time before I get a shimmering skeleton key. If that's the name of it. It might be like glittering skeleton key? I don't remember. Whatever it is, the skeleton key rare. It's only a matter of time before one of those drops for me. Like, just yesterday, I got an invigorating elixir, which is not very good. It's not a great rare, but it's a higher tier rare at the very least. And that means that it is entirely possible that any unit I kill could be the one that gives me my skeleton key. And when I get that, the gauntlet jewelry is mine. Because, you know, that would be nice. Because I think that, I'm pretty sure that thing can just straight up open the gauntlet vault. And then I could get a piece of gauntlet jewelry without ever having to actually do the gauntlet. Because not only is the gauntlet higher level significantly than the Colosseum, so I wouldn't be able to solo it for a long time now, but also it doesn't have much info. Like, the wiki is just very incomplete when it comes to the gauntlet, at least the wiki that I use. So, you know, like, going into the Colosseum, you can read up on the exact enemies and strategies and the number of stuff, and everything is heavily cataloged about the actual Colosseum. But the gauntlet, it was relatively new when the game ended, so the wiki just didn't have the time to fully catalog what the enemies are in every floor, what level the enemies are in every floor, and what's good against them, what's bad against them, having their pictures and everything. It just, the info just is not available that well. So the gauntlet scares me. I don't know if I'll ever be able to solo it by myself, but maybe someday. Maybe if I get all them legendaries. And then I could get the gauntlet jewelry myself. Oh, I'm out of healing kit. Luckily, we're not fighting anything too stressful, or I would be freaking out right now. Because running out of healing kit is a very bad situation for one such as me, who, you know, relies on healing kits. And here, let's actually put a second healing kit on our bar. That's usually what I'll do, where, you know, 8-9 is usually what I do for healing, but 7-9, I have that up as well, just as a secondary precaution, in case we at some point need to quickly switch to another healing kit, because yeah, that it does happen, and I don't always keep a good enough eye on it. Hi, Reels. There's a potion there, but I'm not going back for it. Okay. Okay, and what is our kill task at now? It's been a couple rooms since I checked, I think. That's a larva. Oh, 249. This is actually the last guy right here. Wow. So let's kill the larva, loot up everything else, and then get out of here. Go turn in our stuff and get our ninja armor. Alright. And turn in the kill task. Because that's a good bit of XP for us. And then it gets the timer running to, you know, to be able to do it again tomorrow. Because this isn't enough shurikens to get us all of the pieces of armor. So I'm definitely going to need to do it again tomorrow. Probably, maybe, possibly not on stream. I don't know. But certainly... Why am I over on this side? I need to be over here. I'm certainly going to do it tomorrow whether I stream it or not. Because I need to get that ninja armor. Plus, it kind of just looks funky having my character in half ninja armor, half explorer armor. Oh yeah, and then we get the plaque, which, yeah, we now have a collection of these. I keep forgetting to go to a town crier for it. Because, you know, I don't have time for that. And there's not a town crier in Eastwatch, apparently. I've looked multiple times and I never found one. So every time I grab them, I'm like, oh, I should go to a town crier, and then I never remember to because there's none in the same town. So there you go. Enjoy those. Have fun with that. And you better give me the ninja armor, or I'm gonna be upset. There we go. We already have these? Yes, chest piece. So now, just one more piece left. We don't have enough shurikens for it, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we just need 8 more. Remember that. We need 8. Well, you guys might not be there next time, but we need 8 more shurikens. Maybe I'm talking to myself. Maybe I need to remember that. 8 more shurikens. And then we're done forever on ninja armor. I never need to farm it up again. Where did I put that? There it is. Why do I always put it down there? I think it's because it's with the other bag of salvage. But you can make salvage pretty quickly if you just pick up every item of that material, which won't give you the highest quality. I mean, 7's pretty decent, actually. Yeah. I guess it's because I've been collecting them mostly in Egg Orchard, which on average has pretty high quality loot. Not Lifestone. Yeah, if I roll Lifestone, that'll take me to Dark Isle. That is not where I want to be. Well, let's go put this in the house chest. And probably some other stuff. I probably don't need all this on me. But yeah. Legendary armor. Very nice to see. I don't know how often these things, the society armor gives legendaries. I just randomly found it yesterday when I opened a chest to verify what it can give you. But that's pretty good. Plus it has a critical damage rating, which I don't know how good that is. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what those ratings... I mean, I know what the ratings do because there's augmentations. Like, I already have... Which augmentation do I have? Yeah, damage rating increased by 3, and damage resistance rating increased by 3. You know, I have those, so obviously the ratings are very powerful, but I just don't know how efficient they are on the pieces of armor themselves, and how much, like, real-world effect that really adds up to. But we'll see. Let's throw that in the chest. I don't think I have much else. I need to buy another MMD, because I'm starting to fill up on the pyreals again. We can throw these in with the other peas here. Because, you know, why carry them around all day? But look at that value. 5 million pyreals. That's so good. There we go. And then just throw the rest in here. No reason to really be holding on to them. Why did I have, like, multiple stacks of peas in my bag? Why were those not auto-stacked? I don't know. It seemed like I had 2 stacks of pyreal, 2 stacks of silver, and maybe 2 stacks of gold. That's kind of odd because they weren't full, but that's fine. Let's just throw this in somewhere because we don't want that on us. And yeah, we have these in here. I don't think these. Yeah, these had an epic on them, which is still pretty decent, but epic finesse and no crit rating means that these are far inferior to this. Even though, once again, I don't think legendary armor is all that useful. I mean, it's 80 increased natural armor, which it isn't nothing. So there's that. Oh, and I should put the rare on there, of course. Rare go in there. Was that the only rare I had? Did I throw that in a different bag for some reason? No, we're good. Okay. Well, I'm probably gonna end it there. We got the ninja gear that we were looking for. We got the kill task done by more than just 250 rippers because we killed probably like 100 before in like the first hour before I even started the kill task. So good stuff. Fun times. I got the ninja gear, just need one more piece and we will be at the full set of ninja armor, and my archer should be good to go, except, getting my war mage and my buff bot war mage up to a proper level that they can actually be a better buff bot. Because preferably they'll cast level 8 spells at the end, but for right now they're barely able to cast level 7s. So it is what it is. We'll get them there. They just got high enough level to be able to do the good daily. The one that someone pointed out to me a while back was much better than all the dailies I was already doing. And so I've been doing that one once a day on both my archer and on my war mage. And it's pretty good. It gets you a lot of levels, especially right at the start. Like, I think the lowest level you can do it is 115. And so I went on my war mage at exactly 115 to go and do that quest, and by completing it once it got me from 115 to 119 just instantly. So of course that'll slow down as I level up. It'll probably be like 1 level a day until level like 160, 170 or so. So it'll slow down, but for now we're making some good progress on the war mage and we'll get there. It just takes dedication, don't you know? So yes, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.